And we are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Lyonsview Realty Financial Fridays. My name is Clara Lyons-DeVaughn. Good afternoon, good day, good evening, depends on when and where you are watching this video in the world. I am the broker owner of Lyonsview Realty, and our team provides residential, commercial for small businesses and nonprofits, and property management services. We also have an education arm, Lyonsview Academy, where we provide real estate pre-licensing, continuing education, credit counseling, and distressed homeowner solutions. So Lyonsview Realty launched Financial Fridays to help you stay current on those trends that impact your bottom line. Our goal is to provide you with resources, information, and tips to assist you in making the best financial decisions. And our commitment is really to maximize your wealth building power now and in the future. So I'm really, really glad that you tuned in today. Feel free to like, share this video. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. And if you have any questions for me or for our guests today, you can type it in the comment section. If you're doing the replay, we will um, definitely get back to you. So we have been talking in the last few weeks about property, you know, property as an asset. And most times when you think of wealth, we think of money, we think of cash, we think of assets. In the last couple of segments, we identified that YOU, are the most important asset to yourself and to your power team. What you do, how you do it, and what you are remembered for really helps to establish your wealth quotient in the world. So, seeing yourself as part of your wealth equation is very important and very necessary. So, there are those people who either go to a business for business or personal reasons, because they know who we are. They know that they can trust us. They know they can trust how we conduct ourselves and how we do business. We know that their product reflects what they advertise, that the information that they provide, basically what is given, that it's consistently, honestly, and it's at a certain standard. And because of that, we can trust them. So when I think of ethics as a wealth tool, these are the things that come to mind. Ethics is a behavior in our toolkit, and that behavior is very critical, not only to our success, but to how we build wealth in the future.
Mhm.
So today we have our special guest, Miss Claudia Hawkins, who works with individuals and also with businesses in the area of ethics. Welcome, Miss Claudia. So glad to have you today.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be with you, Clara.
You are so welcome. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, starting out, I was born in a small town in South Carolina, Darlington, South Carolina, and I grew up there. I am a PK, thinking that people that's listening to you know what a PK is, but just in case, a preacher's kid.
As am I.
Awesome. See, we're going to find out some things about each other. I'm looking forward to this conversation. But yeah, I stayed there through high school, went off to Hampton Institute at that time, which is now Hampton University, still my home by the sea, in accounting, met my ex there and moved to Philadelphia. I began working for the U.S. Treasury Department, the Internal Revenue Service. And I was there for 35 years. And after I retired, I knew I wanted to have my own business, but I wasn't quite sure what it was. So I did pray and ask the Lord, and He gave me ethics training and consulting. So doing that for the last 10 years. And I realized that that's not only my passion, but that is my ministry.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I'm getting some feedback. Can you turn down your volume just a little bit?
Okay.
Mhm. So, as you're doing that, in your, what would be your definition of ethics?
I hope that's better.
Yes. That actually is better. Thank you.
Um, a very simple definition for ethics is doing the right thing. A lot of people compare ethics to morals. And whereas morals are just people being concerned with doing the right thing, ethics is more so the standard. That's what you base your decisions on. Is this right? Is this wrong? What is your standard? And for me, being a PK and really being in church all my life, the Bible is my standard. So when
Indeed.
making decisions, you need a standard. Sometimes it might seem unclear, it might seem a gray area. So you have to have a standard that you can rely on because, your business is going to be so associated with your reputation. And like you said, your reputation is absolutely tied to your wealth building.
Indeed. And that's what we're talking about today, how your wealth, your individual wealth impacts your reputation in business and also personally.
Mhm.
So, how did you become this ambassador for ethics for individuals and business? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, as you can assume, it did start with, being born into the family of a pastor in a small town. In those years, we see what's happening now in the human protest, but I was born and living before the civil rights. So, of course, as we were taught, you be careful, you do the right thing, the family's name is at stake when you're out, constantly being reminded to do the right thing. So it was really ingrained in me. And there, that, like you say, we have a fear of God, we have a reverence of God, but we also have a reverence for doing the right thing because not only does that impact our family name, but if we call ourselves Christians and we do things that are unethical, then that affects the kingdom as well. So
Indeed,
that's
indeed.
really, how I got started. Um, Working for Internal Revenue Service again during that time, I saw mistreatment of people on both sides within the government itself, and then with taxpayers that I was involved with. So, it came an opportunity for me to get involved with ethics at Internal Revenue Service. And I was introduced at that time to the Josephson's Institute, which has a standard. They call theirs 6 pillars of ethics. So if you can check off these 6 pillars, then you, as a business, as an individual, can say, well, these are the things that make me ethical, that improves my integrity.
What are the 6 pillars?
Well, I'm glad you asked. The 6 pillars are being trustworthy, being respectful, being responsible, being fair, being caring, and being civic minded. So, as an individual, as a business, if your reputation says that you're trustworthy, that you're respectful of everyone, your employees, your clients, your stakeholders, if you are responsible, if you promise something in your product or your service and you execute it, you implement it with excellence, that affects your reputation, that affects your revenue, that affects your wealth. So, all of those different criteria, um, trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, we hear that a lot now,
Yes.
caring, caring about certain groups of people, um, and being civic minded, caring about the environment. All of that's part of doing the right thing.
Indeed, I really like that. And in my industry, fairness comes up a lot. We have a whole thing around fair housing and
Yes.
and what that looks like, that people be treated fairly in the same manner and consistently in the same manner as you
Mhm.
treat, one person to another person, one client to another client. that you offer the same services equitably. I guess I
Absolutely.
don't know if that's a word. Yeah,
Yes,
and
it
I
is.
want people
Equitably. Yep.
caring with respect, and then we talked earlier about the whole thing about trust. If you do those things, it builds the trust that
Mm-hmm.
people come to look for. And civic and business minded. I really like that six pillar. Is that six? One, two, three, four, five.
6 pillars.
Yes, six pillar definition. That is great. So, what specifically do you do for your clients? If someone were to engage you, how do you put this to work for them?
Well, what I like to do is to meet with them and see what they are concerned about in their workspace. And I provide customized training in ethics. Number one, everything is based on ethics.
Mhm.
Doing the right thing, just in business in general, making the right decisions. But also, other courses that I have involve customer service, which is just treating the customer fairly, internal and external, treating your coworkers fairly. Also, communication. When you communicate with people, in order for them to believe that you're trustworthy, your communication has to be authentic, it has to be true, it has to be honest. So, all of those things make up what you are trying to deliver to your customers and your clients so that you can build that wealth. Your reputation is going to build that wealth. And we know that it only takes one person and one incident to ruin 5, 10, 15, 20, a whole generation of people working hard trying to build their assets, trying to have an inheritance for their children and grandchildren. And there's so many examples throughout the last 10 years of people making poor decisions and that impacting their families. Certain names you hear, once you hear the name, you know the story, you know the scandal, Penn State, Exxon. There's certain names that always Enron, and we like to talk about larger companies so that people can say, well, that's what I'm aspiring to. I want to be a Fortune 500 company. So you can see when people don't take that extra effort, when they don't realize that investing in training for their employees is what's going to help them reach their goal of being um, of having wealth and being able to leave that to your children and your grandchildren. It's very important, and it's hard to put a dollar amount on that once it's delivered, but it is absolutely an investment. Training is not an expense. It's something that your people will value, that they can not only use in your business, but individually in their relationships at home with their family and friends as well.
Indeed, and like we're not only seeing that with things that have happened in the past, but currently with the police department's ethics training is extremely important. Uh,
Yes.
and in all businesses, there just to have some sensitivity about differences between people and how we interact with each other, and what all sides are going through. I think what you do really lends a hand to that. There was something else you said about communication. So
Yes.
a lot of times people will publicize the bad things, but as businesses, it's important that, people, if something is not up to a standard for a customer or a client, that they communicate that to the business owner so that they can do better in the future, and that they can build back their trust and build back their reputation with that client. But the bad news always seems to outweigh the good
Yes.
news. It could be
Yes.
just one incident, as you say, but that one incident can carry for a long time. So the training and the sensitivity that you offer to businesses and individuals about how to manage, you know, their you know, their identity,
Mhm. That's
so
right.
their
It's
ethics.
part of your identity. Absolutely.
and manage their reputation is very, very important. How would you say what's going on with the pandemic right now has impacted the ethical environment for business?
I would say for businesses, individuals, and government, it just came as almost like the perfect storm. Everything
Okay.
sort of happened at once. Um, you had the pandemic, then you still have the pandemic, protests for human rights. And some people say civil rights, but these are human rights
Yes.
we're talking about. And that's what the world sees, human rights, the economy. All these things are impacted by ethics. And so when all of these things come together, then the truth sort of begins to come up out of the ground almost and say, well, I wonder why these things happened. And then when you look back and you really um, perceive some of the things that have been going on previously, then, like I said, once it all comes together, it's like an explosion. It's like an explosion, just like that terrible event in Beirut. Um, you know, that was an ethical issue where they knew they had these compounds that were there for years and years and years. And each time there was an inspection, we need to do something about it. We need to move it. We need to separate it, whatever. And taken for they were taken for granted. They didn't think it was going to become a problem. And then all of a sudden, we see all this smoke. And that's how certain things happen. If you don't attack issues when they are going on, burying the truth, burying ethics is not going to last but so long. And that's the same thing with your reputation as a business owner. If you start out doing the right thing year after year after year, and you may not become an overnight success, but if you continue to do the right thing, eventually you will be successful, and you'll be successful in more than one ways. You will be successful financially, you will be successful emotionally, and you will be successful physically, because it does impact your health. Doing unethical things will eventually impact your health, and you won't be able to work and make the money and have a wealth building program.
Indeed. I like what you say about don't bury your truth. You have to confront and address those things that are issues for you, and work through them and work them out. So that's very, very relevant for individuals and also for businesses. What would you say is the most profound statistic or the most profound point around ethics that you'd like to share with our audience?
Well, basically, what I've sort of alluded to it initially, is that it only takes one person to ruin your reputation, but it also only takes one person to start making a difference.
Mm.
So if you are the owner, then your values have to be shared with your employees. Whether or not you have one employee, two employees, 500 employees, it does all come from the top. And if people think that you are unscrupulous, then they will eventually become unscrupulous, and that will impact your reputation, thereby impacting your wealth building. So one person can break you, but just like one person can break you, one person can make a difference. And right now, it's going to take those solid ethical values of honesty, truth, kindness, caring. All of those things are going to make a difference. And those businesses, as you can see, a lot of the large 500 corporations, they're stepping out and they're now saying, this is what is right. I may not have done it previously, but I know it's right and I want to correct it. Those are the businesses that we're going to see in the next year or the next 2 years, however it takes us to get back to whatever is going to be considered normal. The
Mhm.
businesses that will continue to ignore their reputations, ignoring the truth, ignoring honesty, ignoring respect, ignoring responsibilities, those are the ones that are going to go under.
Mhm. And how do you advise your clients? So if they had an issue, what kinds of things, help shift that? How do you advise them the things that they might be able to do to shift those things?
Well, the customizing of the topics based on what is going on in their space. Um, right now, most people are working from home, and I have added online training, which I'm so very excited about. But there's also consultations, and whether or not a company or an executive just needs a second opinion, because a lot of people confuse legal with ethical. So they'll
Mhm.
check with their attorney and they'll say, well, can I do this and can I do that? That's not the mindset of a person who has true, honest, ethical values. They they want to know what's legal, but they really want to go beyond what's legal
Mm.
to make the difference. So speaking with a potential client, finding out what their concerns are, whether it's a gut issue or whether it's something that's obvious, whether it's something they've overheard, whether it's materialized in their productivity. Those are the things that will help me come up with the right topic, because ethics is primary, and a lot of times it might be um, too aggressive to begin with. So they might want to do something like sensitivity training. They might want to do something like the communication training. They might want to do something like team building. And all of those different topics can be keyed into and will eventually in my training is going to be coming up to, is it right or is it wrong in team building? Are you
Yeah.
sharing information with everybody on the team so that you can get the best product, get the best service? Unconscious bias. I just heard yesterday on the news that the governor of Michigan, she has now made that the fact that racism is a critical health issue. And so, with her identifying that, now all of their departments are going to have to go through unconscious bias training. So, all of these subtopics really tie into ethics. And we know that Detroit is one of the cities, they have had terrible financial consequences. So, to say that the governor is coming in and saying, we want to have this done is taking a leap that 2 or 3 years ago people wouldn't have taken. But they realized that this is a crucial time. This is a time in history that we're going to look back on and say, am I on the right side of history? Am I on the right side of the issue? Did I do what I could for my employees? Did I do what I could for my clients? Did I do what I could for my stakeholders in my community? So those are the conversations I like to have initially so that we can create the right training for their office, their particular office. And it might end up being a series starting off with a not so tough topic like communication or like team building, because everybody wants to be a part of the team, and then gradually getting to the tougher topics.
Yeah, we're seeing ethics a lot in our industry, and what do you call it?
Yes, unconscious bias.
Unconscious bias. Yeah, it's really
And we all have it. We all have it.
yes, yes. Unconscious bias is really an area that's coming up quite a bit now. And I think in all industries, and as you say, we all have it, but we're not really conscious to how our biases affect our decisions and
Mm-hmm.
how how we conduct ourselves and how we conduct our businesses. So that's really, really important. So we're going to wrap, but I'm going to combine two things. If you could
Okay.
recap the three most important things that an individual or business could do to either establish or maintain an ethical environment, and how do you see the world, say, in 5 years, if on an individual level, people embrace, what you do, embrace your work in ethics?
Well, the three most important things I would advise in business, in nonprofits, in government is having people where they need to be. Whenever you start a business, you want to start a business that is your passion. But when the business is your passion, number one, that's your that's your expertise that's going to be going out. And also when you are working or serving in your passion, then there is less tendency to want to or feel like you have to cheat, lie, or steal. And that's what happens. Sometimes people get into businesses that they really aren't familiar with, and then they have to make these quotas, they have to do this for productivity. And that's when those ethical issues begin to arise. So, as much as possible, for the business owner, even as they're hiring people, they're looking for people who they can hang on to their vision. Let's do this. Let's make a difference in transportation. Let's make a difference in housing, whatever it is. Working where you love ends up not to be working. You just enjoy what you're doing. The second thing, we have to stand fast for our values. Again, this is a time when we have to show courage. We have to show courage. And then the last thing I'll say is be in it for the long term. Nothing is going to happen overnight. There is no lasting value to something that just happened once and that's it. So, and for where I think people will be in 5 years if they follow my advice, if they take my training, if they come to me for second opinions, I'm going to be reinforcing these things, that it's important to be truthful, it's important to be honest, it's important to be kind, respectful, all of those things that you are intangible, that it's hard to put a dollar amount on, but it is hugely valuable to increasing your reputation. And in event, it won't become a liability to your wealth. It'll become an asset to your wealth and your wealth building.
Indeed, indeed. Wow. So much to digest. I just want to thank you for coming and sharing. I like the pillars: trust, respect, uh, respectable, fair, caring, civic minded, business minded, to work in your passion, confront, address, and resolve your issues, your
Mhm.
truth, work in your passion area, have the courage to maintain and communicate your values to your
Very important.
individual level and down your team so that they can mirror and reflect that, and to do it over consistently and over the long term. I mean, those are all very valuable things. And I think if people, as you stated, learn to protect their ethical values, they protect their reputation, they're able to build a wealth quotient for themselves and for their business that will carry on now and in the future. So I just want to thank you for sharing all the information. So if people wanted to contact you for your services for themselves or for their company, how would they do that?
All right. Again, my business name is Ethics Training and Consulting. And hopefully you can see my telephone number right on the screen, 856 266 1150. 856 266 1150. That's my cell number. and you can text me, call me, email me from my website. I would love to talk to you because right now we can make a huge difference. And I'm looking for partners because this can actually be a movement where we are saying, do the right thing and do it the first time.
Indeed. And what's your email address?
My email address is Claudia at ethicstrainingandconsulting.com. Very long, but Claudia at ethicstrainingandconsulting.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Let's partner.
Awesome. Awesome. I want to just thank you. Our guests, for those who are listening, are here as a resource for you. So definitely reach out to Miss Claudia. I'd just like to thank everyone who watched today, whether you're watching live or you're seeing this on the replay, just some valuable information. You can still post your questions down in the comment section and we'll definitely get back to you. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to to our channel and to this video. And if you want to reach out to myself or anyone on our team at Lyonsview Realty, you can reach us at 209-0905 or info@lyonsviewrealty.com. So thank you again for watching today.
You. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, Financial Fridays is here to provide all of our viewers with the resources, information, and tips and trends to impact their bottom line. And we hope that everyone receives something of value today. As always, we want to send love, light, and prayers out to anyone who has lost a loved one. If you have anyone in the hospital for any reason, or if you're experiencing the impact of physical distancing, if you're working as an essential employees, our healthcare workers, our transportation, food, police, fire, and especially our leadership, because they're definitely in need of ethics, ethics training.
Yes. Goes without saying.
And you know what you said about the governor of Michigan, who's doing a phenomenal job in that area. Is very important. So we encourage everyone to stay safe, to take care of yourself and your family. And my name is Clara Lyons-DeVaughn. Financial Friday streams on Facebook and YouTube every Friday. You can join us at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Until then, keep living your best life. Thank you, Miss Claudia. Really, really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
God bless you as well.